Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a great pleasure to be here and to see you all. Okay, let me start this, this presentation with one question. This is a very simple question, simple quiz. You know, you love prize, right? So, okay, let me ask you. How many of you here knows where is actually Tual City, especially those coming from Indonesia? All right. No one is raising your hand. All right. At least you heard. At least you hear the name of the city. Not even one. Okay. All right. Now let me show you this map. Right. So Tual is here. Right. It's the eastern part of Indonesia. And if you know the location here, right? If you see the location here, Tual, right? It's nearer to Papua New Guinea compared to Jakarta. Okay. Now, the point is, if you think about this place, right, Tual, the eastern part of Indonesia, it will take 14 hours, 30 minutes to go back and forth from Tual to Jakarta. And because of that long distance, the miles, right, you will have to pay 9,391,000 rupiah, which is equal to $900. Oh my God, yes. It's such a big amount of money. Especially, this is a big amount of money, especially for Ibu Fitri, right? This is actually one of English teacher, right? One of English teacher from Tual. And what happened with her, if she wants to get the first-hand information from Jakarta, because Jakarta is central of everything, the capital city, right? She has to spend about 9 times of the minimum wage there. So you can guess how much is the minimum wage. It's about 1.2, 1.4. Or let's say if we compare it with Jakarta, the minimum wage in Jakarta is actually the highest. It's about 3.5, right? Still, 3 times of the minimum wage. What does it mean? It means if she wants to have a seminar in Jakarta, okay, if she wants to join the professional development in Jakarta, she has to give up that big amount of money, 14 hours, 30 minutes from Tual to Jakarta, back and forth, okay? And then what happened is she doesn't get any sponsor from the institution. Right, I can see it from your face. Wow. Okay, so the scariest question come up in my mind is actually what happened, right? What happened with other English teachers all across Indonesia? Look at the islands here. They're all separated one by one, right? Then I was actually curious whether the same case happened for other English teachers. And the answer is yes. So I heard first story, this kind of story, starting from Ibu Fitri, from Tual, and then another story coming up from Pak Aswar, from South Sulawesi. Another one is from Pak Budi, even in Java Islands, right? When people think everything is available here. Added with Ibu Siti, another one is Ibu Marinda. So basically, almost all English teachers all across Indonesia experiencing challenges in professional development to find out the most updated information, right? To get the most updated teaching aids, let's say, or teaching methodology. Then what are we going to do with this? I start thinking about this wardrobe. Anyone here have watched Narnia? Oh yeah, now it's totally different response with my question about Tua. So, okay, Narnia. Now, do you know the wardrobe? Everybody knows the wardrobe? Do you still remember what happened with the wardrobe? Okay, so basically, for those who are not really familiar with the wardrobe is quite big, right? If it's a normal wardrobe, you can just put everything inside. That's a normal one, but this one is not normal. So once you open it, look at this. It's totally different world behind the door. Once you step in, you can find a new world there, right? And then you can have a lot of experiences behind the door. Then once, remember the children there in that movie? Once the children come back, they become a new one. So this is exactly what I imagine. I wish each of us, each of the English teachers in Indonesia have this kind of wardrobe. Even for me, myself, sometimes I wish I have this kind of wardrobe. So each of us, we can go to the seminar for free. We don't have to spend 9 million, right? Then we don't have to spend a lot of time. Experience the seminar, update all of the informations, then come back as a new English teacher. And as a consequence, we can bring improvement to our classroom. We can innovate it. Of course, it will bring more happiness to our students. They will always come back to our classroom. Then, now let's map out the things. We have Indonesian English teachers. We have a lot of information actually available, right? But there is no connection here. Let's say, if you want to learn new teaching method, like flipped learning here, right? Or if you want to update your teaching aids, you know, when we do quiz, it's always paper and pencil. But when we talk about Kahoot here, we can ask our students to use cell phone, right? And then answer it. Just click, click, click. Directly you get the result. And it's even more fun. Another one, even us, we love, we don't really like to write down summary on paper and pencil. But when we ask our students, we don't really do what we preach. We ask them to write down all the time. Right? So one thing here, another option for you, which you can also use, is actually Padlet. Padlet is a virtual bulletin board, right? Once you open the web, you can ask your students to type the summary there, and even another students can collaborate working on the same Padlet, the same summary, right, together, and then share it. Now, the point is, okay, if you can still remember my wish, I wish I have the wardrobe, we have it here. We have already created it. So let me introduce you to IMOOC. IMOOC is our wardrobe right now. And I would like to proudly present it as 15 English teachers' creation from Indonesia. We're all from Indonesia. And of course, with collaboration, right, with 2 specialists and also RELO. I am here. I'm from Jakarta. I'm Maria, right? And then I'm actually one of the developers with other 15 friends across the country, starting from Ambon to Aceh. And basically, we also work with 2 specialists. One is from Vanderbilt, and also another one is from Universitas Indonesia. Now, when we crafted this IMOOC, because we know the condition in Indonesia, we tried to make it ubiquitous. Anyone here knows what is actually ubiquitous? Yes. So, okay, ubiquitous is basically, we tried to create it accessible anywhere, anytime. Just like the Narnia wardrobe, right? Once you open it, you can just jump in, grab whatever you need, or whatever things you can experience, you can just come back in. Same thing here. IMOOC is ubiquitous, right? You can just access, remember Padlet? You can just access Padlet, experience it, and then come back to your classroom, implement it, and share it. Now let me give you 3 examples of how the Indonesian English teachers, right, implement or experience this ubiquitous learning. The first example. Okay, do you still remember Ibu Fitri? The first lady, right? Not the first lady, that one. Yeah, Ibu Fitri was able to implement the most advanced technology at the first time, which is paper and pencil. So this most advanced technology for her at that time before IMOOC, she created crossword using paper and pencil and presented to her students. Okay, it wasn't really advanced for us, for the IMOOC developers. But then after IMOOC, she was able to use this kind of video, which is lovely and cutie. So the way she implemented the video, it was actually like karaoke. So just play the video and then let the students sing, following the subtitles here. Second example is actually from Pak Budi, the one from Salatiga, right? What he did to present the expressions, greetings expression for his 8-year-old students is by creating comic-like presentation. Using another application, right? Using another application, which is infographic. That's the term. Simple and effective. The third one, okay? The third one, usually Indonesian students, we tend to be passive, quiet, right? Whenever teacher asks question, long, quiet answer, right? If there are some students here, sorry, that's the truth, right? Basically, if you want to elicit students' answer, that's really difficult. So one strategy implemented by Ibu Marinda, the one from Jakarta, she was the one creating this question, Mentimeter. She was able to elicit students' thought regarding simple present tense. And guess what is actually the response? The response is simple present tense, not as simple as we think, okay? And look at this sad face. With a sad face below. Now we know the truth about simple present tense, okay? All right. And actually, what makes us, the developers, so amazed with what happened with Ibu Fitri, we found this discussion. There is a discussion, right, that we found. She said, I absolutely agree with you, Pak Agus. We should let the students know that learning through technology, learning English through technology will be more interesting. And she also shared that actually in her class right now, after those paper and pencil technology, right, she was able to use English video app, YouTube online for the listening, and also recording the presentation by mobile phone. Great. Okay? So, again, what makes us so happy about it, 15 of us, these are all the developers, we're happy that actually right now they can be the one who can preach another fellow teachers. Ibu Fitri right now can share what is actually, how is it possible to develop themselves professionally, to update everything. So my point is, starting from 15 of us, and then we share it to our participants. And right now, I would like to encourage you, each of you, to create the Narnia wardrobe. Or at least to be the key of the wardrobe, to open up the wardrobe. I believe we can do it. We pay it forward. Thank you.